1, 2, 3.
Yes, it's the Late Late Breakfast Show with your host, Bernie J. Mitchell.
Are you in?
Are you in?
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and we're here for, I think it's episode number 84, and I've got Jon Torrens here. So, what are you known for, John, and what would you like to be known for?
I teach people confident communication, and that is what I'd like to be known for.
So no change in direction there? Oh.
No, other than ruling the world.
So this worked out rather well, John, because Trello said to me, would you like to help us with our London event? And I thought they meant put out some chairs or hand out leaflets, and they said, could you host it? And I'm muttering like this because I'm a little bit nervous, and before we got here, we spent an hour and a half of me crying into a coffee.
Yeah.
So how can I sort my life out, John?
Well, I think the first thing is, have you done any preparation at all?
I used the application.
What does that mean? So you did. You got me. Yeah. You stitched me right up. Well done.
I have.
You have some idea of what you want to cover?
I have some idea what I wanted to go at. Just to give some context here. So that in London tonight, Trello, which is the project management workflow visualization tool that I'm totally in love with, and me and Niels run a weekly newsletter full of Trello weekly newsletter full of Trello tips. They got in contact with us and said, we're doing this event in London. Do you want to come along? And 200 and when I checked last week, 275 people have booked, and there's room for 100.
Are they actually booked, or are they? Yeah, I'm going to come, but I might not booked.
They've registered.
Okay.
And there's only room for 100 people there. So whatever happens,
you've got 100 punters.
I've got 100 punters, of which at least 20 I know. And they'll laugh out of politeness.
Okay. So you've got 100 punters. Do you know anything about the venue?
It's a room at Stackflow, which is a kind of software
Have you
place.
Been to that room?
I'm going there at 4:30 tonight.
There we go. But that's your first thing, is finding out what that room's like.
And obviously I know why, John, but why would we need to know that?
Far before that, you need to know what you're going to talk about. So we've said that you know what you're going to talk about.
Yeah.
In what detail? How much have you actually written down?
I've thought about it a lot. Mm-hmm. I've written it out in different ways in blog posts. So I'm using, not that people are tracking my material, but I'm using stuff I've posted in this room we're in now. We do the little drop-in workshop that I cancelled today for this podcast.
Yeah.
So I know what I'm talking about, ish, and I know how to ad lib, and I've written a blog post which I'm going to publish today as well, which is my story, but it's how much of my story. And one of my main concerns that's just popped in there is there's three people speaking, and I want it to be my bit to be interactive, so I'm really concerned about gelling the room together rather than talking at people.
Well, start off asking them a question. I mean, do you know anything about those people who are coming? So you've got 100, that's great. Mm-hmm. It's going to fill the room. Do you know what industry they're from, what level of expertise they have, what they want to know? Has anyone asked them already?
I'm going to check with Kirsten, who's with our debrief at 4:30.
Right.
And so I will have that information, but my mind's going overdrive. Maybe this is something you can, other than like taking a sleeping tablet this afternoon, my mind's going in overdrive.
Well, it sounds like you won't be stuck for things to say. You've got all of these things ready, and that's great. So first of all, you need to take that. I've said first of all loads about different things. You noticed that. We'll determine which one I actually mean as first of all. I think taking that pressure off, you're the expert, you know your stuff. No one's going to catch you out, are they? You've got lots to talk about.
I've got lots to talk about, but I'm worried about being caught out. No one's ever caught me out yet.
I suspect they won't.
Yeah.
Here's the thing then. Let's say someone asks you a question about Trello and you don't know the answer. What will you do? What's going to happen?
What do they do on, I've forgotten the line now. Phone a friend. Ask the audience.
Well, there's that. Yes. Yeah. So who wants to be a millionaire? There we go.
That's it.
Who wants to be a Trello expert? you could do that. But here's the thing: if you don't know the answer, does it matter?
No.
There you
I
go.
know it doesn't matter, but I'm.
First of all, it won't matter. Secondly, it'll be funny
Yep.
if you say, "I really don't know," and then someone will know. Someone will have an answer, and then you get that discussion, which brings me very neatly onto asking the audience questions. I think at the very beginning, ask them, "What do you want to know? What would this solve for you? What's the thing you'd like to absolutely nail by the end of this?" People love that because it's not just, "Hey, we're here. It's the Amazing Trello Show," which to some extent they'd like. But if you say, "What's an important thing for you?"
So can you do too much? I like to think I'm very good at loads of self-confidence flaws here today, but I naturally really enjoy asking the audience, like, what would you like to know? What should we use as the hashtag for the event? Or doing stupid things. And my favourite thing to justify everything that comes after that is I'm a Phil Butlin's red coat. After that, I got sacked from TGI Fridays, so here I am now.
Lovely.
Which layers. I'm pretty sure layers the awkwardness expectation in the room. So anything after that, I can just
Well, it makes you human. That's what's nice. But also, by asking them a question, they're first of all thinking, "What's in it for me? Is this going to be any good? Do you know what you're talking about?" And they'll probably assume you're an expert to begin with. But if you ask them what's important for you, that's nice. It's flattering. Yeah, we actually want to solve a problem for you, because that's why they're there. Think, well, I want to get something. What would you like? I think that's great to begin with. But you'll get that rapport from someone. Yeah, someone will tease you or say something.
How about because very often I'm with groups of people I know, so it's very easy to I know to take the piss out of Anne Hawkins and John, and joke about Barclays and Ed Goodman and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that there's plants in the audience even if they haven't agreed to being watered.
Yeah.
But I'm worried about offending people unintentionally.
What could you possibly say that would offend someone?
I've been listening to a lot of rap music recently.
I love rap music.
Particularly, a particular issue I'm having, going off topic, a particular issue I'm having at the moment is, do you know No Vaseline by Ice Cube?
I'm aware of O'Shea Jackson's earlier work.
Yes. There's the post LA riots.
Yes.
So his diss thing, but there's some quite not sexual, but like religiously sensitive lyrics in that.
Right.
Which work really well in the context of the song, and if you've watched the movie and everything like that. But,
how does that link to what we're talking about now?
Because I just keep on when I funny you should ask, because things just pop in my head. Yeah. And while I'm saying this, I've never said anything really off colour in a audience situation. Yeah. But what do you call it? Like things when you do something as an automatic reaction.
Yes.
Like a knee-jerk reaction. Someone will say something, and then like a song lyric will pop in my head because it flows on nicely.
Yes.
And I'm like,
so you think you might say something? You might swear?
I'm fine with swearing. That's
okay. Yeah. From all my experiences with you, Bernie, I can't see how any of your natural filters wouldn't cut that off.
That's good.
Before it's vocalised.
I just needed this has turned into a
So,
therapy.
it is, and that's fantastic. But that's fine. You're not going to say anything. Let's say you did drop in an F word or anything else like that, which you said you're fine with anyway.
Yeah. Well, I walk around with a T-shirt that says "Unfuck the world" on it, which
that's right.
I neglected to wear today for it's a family audience.
I don't think you're going to say anything offensive, and if you said something that was close to offensive, it would be funny and it would be genuine.
Yeah,
it would be authentic. So I don't think there's a problem there at all. So I think we've got to try and remove all those burdens of what might go wrong. I think you've got loads of great things that might happen.
So how can I keep track of time? Because I think I'm pretty good at it. Because like when we do podcasts, I always keep an eye on the timer. So I've got an unconscious sort of thing. But standing in front of people, I get carried away in the moment in a very, very lovely way, and more often than not, the audience kind of comes with me. But
have you got a big clock?
As a rapper, is it Public Enemy guy?
Got a massive clock. TED Talks, when you sometimes see the angle from behind, you say they've got this massive red LED. Now, I don't know if you can get something like that, it may seem obvious, but having something that you can check without obviously checking it, because obviously checking your watch says, "Oh, I don't really want to be here." That could keep you.
I need to go and buy one as well.
Something like that would keep you on track, and maybe even mention it to the audience. Say, right, where are we at? What's happening with the time? Where are we? We're halfway through. Someone will know. They'll shout out, "Go, good, we're here," and it involves them. And you're kind of showing behind the magic, behind the scenes. You're saying, "Yeah, we've got 20 minutes to the end. What should we talk about next?" Great, I'd do that. Call it out. If in doubt, call it out. Something's happening you didn't expect. Just mention it. Say, "This is happening now. Oh, that's broken. This isn't working. Oh, you've said something. Oh, I think I just swore." It's funny. It breaks the tension.
I'll be with that. What about pulling questions out of the audience? Because again, I think I'm really good about that. Have you got any advice to? Obviously, I don't need that advice, but
for other people, for other people. I've got a friend who needs to know that. What do you mean pulling questions?
If in a highly unlikely event that it's so sometimes I get an audience and go, who's ever drank water? And people are like, oh.
Yeah.
I go, right. And then I push it and say, who has a mobile phone? And then, so I did it here the other day, and there was an intern from downstairs, and everyone was having breakfast around the table, and we were talking and introducing ourselves. I said, who has the internet? And like half of the people put their hands up, and someone who was, it wasn't that bad actually, I went and apologised afterwards, but someone who was really new said, have you with the curly hair, have you got the internet? And she turned out to be like a 17-year-old intern, and it was her first day from downstairs, so it was a bit of a...
But that's lovely. That's the stand-up comedy technique. You jump in, here's my first impression of you, I'm interested in you. That's part of that, not offending people as well. It's like, you're wearing this check shirt. What are you about? What is it? What makes you tick? You look like a golfer. Just anything at all. It's not supposed to be offensive or mocking someone. It's just, I'm curious about the world and I'm interested.
So from your stand-up comedy things, have you got a horror story where you've picked on someone without meaning to pick on them, or awkward situation?
I've got one. I'll mention it anyway. Who knows how this is going to go? I was at Stratford. I was at Stratford at a bar doing a comedy gig. I can't remember what the venue was. It was it's all changed since then. But
Flying Chainsaw.
It was really nice. It was a massive place. It was really nice. And I had this bit where I used to say, "Can anyone here speak another language other than English?" Because I'd learned how to say hello, how are you in sort of 10 different languages, and I could just about get the accent in those languages, and it was nice. And if they responded well, the audience thinks, "Oh, he's fluent in Japanese, Arabic, whatever." Anyway, I said, "Okay, anyone here speak another language?" And there was a girl there who was Asian, and she turned to her partner, and I said, "Oh, how about you?" And she said, "Is it because I'm Asian?" And so evidently, what she'd said was, "I bet he mentions me." And I went, "No." The reason I mentioned is because you immediately responded when I did it, and I carried on. So I knew it was okay, but I just had to put her fears at rest. As if I was any kind of racist or prejudiced, I wouldn't be in a bar filled with people from all around the world. So that was, I think she was probably the only person who was could have been offended.
Is it bad to do? Because I love, in case anyone guessed, I love Robin Williams, and frequently he dives into this, like, he has different accents. Have you ever seen him do the improv with the headscarf?
No, but I mean, I'm thinking of him doing the Aladdin genie.
So he does that kind of thing. But he does it in stand-up. So there's a really good interview which I linked to in a blog post somewhere, which I'll never go and find. So look for it on YouTube.
That's that. Yeah,
that's that. So he's being interviewed on stage, and it's like a 2-hour interview. It's like really in depth and brilliant, and he keeps on standing up and doing stuff.
Yeah.
And he just walks up to the front row, pulls this headscarf, not headscarf, but like
a scarf.
Yeah, scarf.
Let me guess, wraps around his head.
Yeah.
And does a sort of Arabic voice.
Does an Arabic voice, and then he does a French person, and then he pretends to be a nun, and the voice, and the things change. And this was like in like 1989 or something.
Right.
So he's been very kind of like, oh, but that's
right. And he has a French accent.
And does a French accent, come here. And in normal life, I fall into that, like around here in 90 Main Yard, I do that, which is fine in the context of, this close-knit group of people. But I always wonder, is it like in this day and age of political correctness, and in this day of age, because, I just do not want to be offensive at that level.
Yeah.
I don't want to be, my neighbour is a darky BBC TV show type of thing. That horrible.
You're never going to do that, Bernie. I'm telling you, that's never going to. You're fine. You're fine. I think. But what's the question though?
So what about doing accents?
Right. Here's what I think.
And this is my question and other people's questions.
This is a tricky one because there was an American comic who used to do this thing about going to the Chinese buffet, the all-you-can-eat buffet, and he would get thrown out because you've been here 4 hours, right? And I had to point out to a friend of mine who thought this was hilarious. I said, imagine it without the accent. Because the trouble is, you're laughing at the funny foreign accent.
This is a bit,
and that's the tricky bit. And yet, doing an accent can be seen as parodying and mocking. It's like we just went to that amazing cafe where that guy was incredibly French.
Yeah.
And I would tell him that, I'd be happy to say that. But if I were to do his accent to him, then that might seem like I'm mocking him. So I think something like Robin Williams, there's a difference between talking about the subject and your view on the subject.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And people get, as nice white middle class liberals, we get what you said, black people.
Yeah.
That's frightening. Well, that's fine because I haven't said anything about it. Even saying that now, I'm thinking, where am I going with this? You're thinking, where are you going with this? This could be really offensive. Well, I could say Indian people, Chinese people. It's fine to mention that. We get so worried about being racist. Until you say something racist, it's okay.
Yeah.
But with the accents, there's laughing at the funny foreign accent, and that's
in that little large kind of way.
Exactly. And I'm thinking Sid Little blacked up as Mr. T, which you and I both remember, about 1982. Yeah, Saturday Night. That's British comedy. Let's not forget that they did that. They actually did that and thought that it was funny. It's probably about 84. So I would say it depends who you're with when you're doing the accents. Mm-hmm. So I would love to start riffing with you with French accents. We're talking about Marseille Verlon and Element and all that stuff.
Gluten free. So we just there's a little cafe here in 90 Maynard, and we had a gluten free poppy seed cake.
See, already I'm uncomfortable with that.
Great inconvenience to be here. I changed my mind at the last minute.
But so your question, is it offensive to do an accent? I don't know. It's tough. You'll always get someone who's going to be offended.
The person that does it really well and very in context, and he's so politically aware and socially aware, is Mark Thomas.
There you go.
Because he does he's on. There's a bit in one of his things where he does an impression of someone at a rally, and it gives him cause to do an Arabic impression, and in that context, it's really, really funny.
But that exactly. So you've got that content. You've got what he's saying about that.
Yeah.
And what the audience is, what they understand, what your objective is, what you're saying about the subject, then it can work. But as soon as it's, hey, I'm doing an accent,
and it's definitely not in the. It's funny because it's a Chinese guy.
This is
an angry Chinese guy.
You've got to. I think when it's a joke and there's an accent, I always have to think, remove the accent. What's the material behind it?
That's really good advice.
And then, is it still funny? We're approaching 20 minutes.
Yeah. So we need to wrap this up. My post-traumatic Trello. Pre-traumatic.
Pre-traumatic stress disorder.
So have you got like a little set piece to finish with? Because maybe we should.
So and finish strong. You want a grand finale finish, of confidence,
and then we can edit this bit out maybe, but probably not.
No, let's keep it in. It's behind the magic. I think if you're nervous because you haven't done any prep, then that's it. I can't help you with that. You're a fool.
Yeah.
If, however, you've done your prep, great. You know what you're going to talk about. You've done a bit of research on the audience, bit of research on the venue. And so first things first, get to the venue. Yep. If you can get into the venue beforehand and just get familiar with it, helps a hell of a lot.
I can get in there at 4:30.
Get in there when it's empty. Look, have you ever stayed at a nightclub until the lights come on?
Frequently. I used to work in one, so I've woken up in
How does the atmosphere change when the lights come on? How do things change?
The first thing that dropped into my mind was Wile E. Coyote. Now, Coyote Ugly, isn't it? Is it?
I don't know. Oh, yes. Yeah,
Coyote Ugly.
Not the cartoon.
The allure evaporates.
A little glamour leaves. Yeah, yes. Yeah. The amazing atmosphere goes. I think it's a similar thing with a room full of people. There's a pressure, expectation. performance, things are going to happen. If you can get in the room when there's no one in there, you can experience it without all that.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it actually kicks off and there's people there, you can remember, okay, I was here before, this is where I stood, I've rehearsed it. Rehearse in that place. It'll help.
One last question. I'm really comfortable about walking around the audience because
I'm a fan of that.
That's a good thing.
I think it's great. I feel happiest when I'm walking around and talking. Nerves are a limitless source of energy. If they power you around the stage, then use it. As long as you're not running around.
Yeah.
If it comes across as nervous energy, then that's great. People love that.
Like Timmy Mallet. Who's...
Yeah.
Why do you go like that?
Not a Timmy Mallet fan.
He invented Chris Evans.
Did he? What, in a lab with... You know, Mike Myers used to be on Wackaday.
I did.
Yeah.
Yes.
With, was it Neil Malarkey? Comedy Store Players.
I can't remember who it was.
I'm going to throw... That's a fact. I've no idea. I think that's a fact.
We've gone off topic here. So I'm prepared. I want to talk about... I'm going to go and publish this. This has helped already, John. Thanks very much.
Excellent.
And I'm going to... I've got my blog post to publish, which is pretty much what I'm going to talk about tonight. But then there's a need of me to like get it out there, even if no one reads it, just to sort of get it off my chest, and then I feel I can be there for the audience at the end of the night. Do you use the internet, John?
I use the internet a lot. Yes.
Is there somewhere? I've discovered this thing called a website.
I know. Yes, I've just made one of these new fangled websites on the Intertron. JonTorrens.co.uk. That's JonTorrens.co.uk. It'll take you about 10 seconds of searching to find me. There is also a Canadian comedy actor called Jonathan Torrens who will pop up in your search, but I'm not him.
Do you get booked by mistake?
No. He Googled me once.
And are you available on Twitter and Facebook and?
I'm on Twitter, strange enough, at Jon Torrens.
Wow.
And Facebook and other social media of your choice.
I can feel another conversation starting, so I'm going to cut it there. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. If you're coming tonight, thank you very much. Don't know why I said that again. If you're coming tonight, really looking forward to it.
Thank you in advance for your attendance.
Get there really, really early because there's 275 people have booked and there's 100 places. So it really is best looking people first. Thanks for listening. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Please go to berniejmitchell.com/podcast. Bernie would love your feedback.